Okay, so then let me explain about this head unit, because it's very confusing of what you're going to get when you have all these adverts on eBay that all look a bit different in terms of software and the unit itself. Most of them are made by one or two companies, and most of them are actually made with one main motherboard in it. You have to think of the unit as having two different motherboards in it. One which I call the Chinese board, and one is a Windows CE board. Most of the unit is controlled by the Chinese board, and then it uses the Windows CE board for navigation. That's what it's supposed to do. I've changed the logo on the front because I'm driving a Skoda. You might not be able to see this too well because it's a bit of reflection off the screen. Right, that started up into the Windows CE side of things, and on this unit you get options. I'm not going to leave the navigation alone for a minute. You can run an Internet Explorer, you can run entertainment, as comes with a music player. Remember, this is all on the WinCE side. This isn't what you normally see on the website, but this does come with the unit. And you can add a playlist here. I can search my for my music, add a load of things in a playlist, and then start playing them with the play button there. And if I want to, there's a nicer screen. There's a nicer screen to look at while you're playing music. So it's a reasonable media player, but it's not particularly good. Let's close that down. There's a movie player, again, unless it's just very basic MPEG-2 recordings, it can't cope with the unpacking. An ebook reader and a picture viewer, but they're very, very basic. In the setup is where the interesting stuff comes. You can check your GPS. Let me see. Right, let's start from the bottom right. Screen setup, easy screen setup stuff. Volume control. Time is where you set a time, and this is where you get some of the different screens that look a bit out of place on the adverts on eBay. This is where they're getting those screens from. Calibrate the touch screen, some general settings, language, stuff like that. A GPS monitor says how your GPS is doing. Yeah, mine's doing quite well at the moment, despite I'm just parked outside my house. Oh yeah, very good. So that's sort of the Windows CE side of things, and I'm going to come back because I've enhanced mine a lot, and you might be interested in how I've done that. So the Windows CE works off this SD card, and if you've got an adapted unit or one of the newer units with a USB lead coming out the back already wired in, that's also connected to the Windows CE computer. This side is for sticking a memory card, or on the lead that you can plug in the USB socket in the back. These are on the Chinese board side of the unit. That's what I'm going to go to now. So I press the source button, and you see this is a screen very similar you'll see on a lot of units, and this is how you access the DVD, the virtual CD player, USB, etc, etc, which those are fairly well documented on the web, on videos and stuff. I'll tell you a few things about each one. DVDs, as you'd expect, it's fairly simple menu. I won't go into that. It plays beautifully, that's fine. I haven't played with the virtual CD. The USB can be a little bit hokey. This is the interface you get. You start it up, you start playing your music, and it is the most awful basic interface, media player. Occasionally you get sort of sporadic text here. You can sometimes get full text of the music, sometimes you get other stuff. Occasionally I'll put album art up, but I can't figure out how to make it do that consistently. To navigate is really poor. You can select a track like that, but when you're driving or you want to move tracks, it's very difficult, and you have to try and use these little arrow keys to go up and down this list. If you miss, then you get this double menu over the top, which is a general menu that looks after all the different functions, the DVD player, the USB, the SD card. So it just makes things really awkward. So a poor interface there. And then to find the rest of your music, you have to scroll up to the top, then click on the home. No, you got it wrong there. Click on the home directory and go up a level, and click on a home directory and go up a level. I have found that, as my little boy loves Timmy Time, you can play, as you see, this is Timmy Time, you can play off memory stick video files. These are MPEG-2s I recorded off our Freeview recorder in the house, so he can watch his videos in the car, which is quite nice. Let me go back to source again. SD card is this SD card, not that one, and you can put 16 meg in, TV function. And now let me go on to how the two sides link up. This is the Navi button, which is the same as that Navi button there. So if I press that, we go back to the WinCE side. If you press navigation there, if you've installed navigation software on that SD card, you can launch into that. I've downloaded the WinCE patch and installed that. So when I press my navigation, I load this WinCE patch, which is a really nice interface, which has sort of almost an iPod type feel to it, with lots of applications, spreadsheet readers, calculators. Shows it on the WinCE side. That's the Explorer for WinCE. That's like a Windows Explorer for it. A little bit difficult to close sometimes because I can't get my finger up into the corner. Oh, there you go, I managed it. There's a few games. And then I've installed various different navigation software. This is one that I installed, iGo Primo, which is fantastic. I really quite like that. Even the wife got on well with it. Interesting thing about the iGo Primo is it has got a media player built into it, which I haven't played with yet, which is probably better than the one on the Chinese board side or the one that comes with the Windows CE side. I'll just wait for this to start up. Even the wife liked this one, she found it easy. I've got it on night maps at the moment, but it's very easy to use. So I'll close that down, exit. What I have got on this though is, what also comes with it is a Nitrogen media player and a Navi player. I quite like the Nitrogen one, it's skinnable. There we go, that's the same track. Now this is reading off the USB stick in the top. I could make it read off the SD card if I had it. I had music on there as well as my navigation software. Very easy to use. And there she is playing there. And it's got things like a media browser, so it's a bit easier to find your tracks. Still have to scroll up and down lists, going up a level. There's all my different artists. Select Arcade Fire. There's a number of different skins that work a bit differently to each other in terms of navigating around the media player. But and you see, as I'm adjusting the volume, this is the Chinese side coming over the top and doing the volume output, and I can actually go back to the Chinese side by pressing the EQ button there. Gets me into the sound control for the Chinese side. So that bit's quite integrated quite well. Switching backwards and forwards between the Chinese side and the Navi side, the Windows CE side, it's very quick, so you could switch equally easily between music on the Chinese side and navigation on the Windows CE side. I won't go through. I'll go through, look at a couple of the other screens, but only briefly because they'll be slightly different on different units. The Bluetooth screen. My Bluetooth phone linked up is a Windows Mobile, which is notoriously not so good at connecting Bluetooth. Linked up brilliantly, worked straight away out of the box, hardly had to do anything to it. Sound quality is good, didn't install the extra microphone. The microphone on the front of the unit is good enough. We got on quite well with that on a recent journey. Will play music, reasonable quality. The overall sound quality of the unit is not too bad. It's equivalent to what I'd say is the stream unit that the Skoda came with to start with. Let me just see if I can get out of this. Okay, options, cancel, options. I can't work out how to get out of this media player now. We'll switch off for a second and switch on again. That media player incidentally has got a graphic equalizer, something like a 10-band one. So I use that to shape the sound how I want in my car with my subwoofer in the back, and that makes a much nicer sound, even though it's going through the Chinese half as well. I can tailor the sound how I like it. I need to, because I learn music, I need to go backwards and forwards tracks while I'm driving, and that media player makes it very easy to do so. It's also skinnable. You can make your own skins, and I'm making one at the moment. It's quite easy to do on a PC. So how would I rate the unit overall? Yeah, it looks lovely in the dash. Possibly, I mean, quality, general build quality is very good. The box it came out of was very nice. All the accessories are very good quality. Buttons rattle a little bit, which I wouldn't expect on an original Skoda unit, but that's 1,600 quid. This is 300, it does far more than the original Skoda unit does. As regards the lighting, yes, you can change the lighting on the LEDs. It's as somebody else said on another, it's a bit sort of Alienware. It's a bit greener and brighter than the rest of the lighting, but the wife didn't notice any difference, so I suppose not many people would. Versatility, very versatile if you know what you're doing. Would I recommend it for the average user? Not unless you're a bit of a techie like me. If you're an average user like my wife, you'd probably struggle to work your way around it until I've set it up really in a very simple way to use. Am I glad I bought it? Yes, I am very much. It looks nice in the car. It's going to do the sat-nav I wanted. It's going to play media that I wanted in the way I wanted it, even though it's not in the way that it originally came with the unit. And it's quite versatile. So yeah, I think they've had quite bad press. I think a lot of the problems have gone now. If you're thinking about it, hopefully this guide will help. Happy to answer any questions if you want to send them in. I think that'll do for now. Okay, so then let me explain about this head unit, because it's very confusing of what you're going to get when you have all these adverts on eBay that all look a bit different in terms of software and the unit itself. Most of them are made by one or two companies, and most of them are actually made with one main motherboard in it. You have to think of the unit as having two different motherboards in it. One, which I call the Chinese board, and one is a Windows CE board. Most of the unit is controlled by the Chinese board, and then it uses the Windows CE board for navigation. That's what it's supposed to do. I've changed the logo on the front because I'm driving a Skoda. You might not be able to see this too well because it's a bit of reflection off the screen. Right, that started up into the Windows CE side of things, and on this unit you get options. I'm not going to leave the navigation alone for a minute. You can run an Internet Explorer, you can run entertainment, as comes with a music player. Remember, this is all on the Win CE